I started off chess by accident.
Right.
Like, plan nahi tha, and there was no intention to do it. So I became Grandmaster at 18.
How does a chess player make money in India?
The good money is only when you reach at the streamers earn a lot. But let's say if you're in world's top 50, you're earning few crores. Then like I get messages from sometimes people like they are very much in love with the game, but abhi 10th khatam hone ke बाद they're like कि हमें करना है. I advise them don't do it.
I'll tell you where I want to begin.
Okay.
You know, you started getting coached when you were like 6 years old, and you became a grandmaster when you were 19. There was those early years where you've received coaching when you're super young. What are those early years of coaching like, and how was it different from like a normal childhood, as people say?
Right. So I became Grandmaster at 18.
Right.
And I started off chess by accident.
Right.
Plan nahi tha, and there was no intention to do it. I went to a cricket club. When I went there, they said ki, also I was like very tiny, fragile looking kid.
Right.
So they're like कि इसको लग जाएगा, हम season ball से खेल रहे हैं यहाँ पे. You know, don't do this now. Wait for 1 year, grow up. Till then you pick any other sport. So the options were badminton and chess. Chess मुझे आता था घर पे because my dad used to play with me. So I was like, okay, let me learn because I have to lose. Then I'll win against him. So that's how it started. So it was not like a planned कि I'll do chess as a career. And then I realized कि I'm extremely competitive. Like I hate to lose. And even in cricket वो होता है ना ट्रायल बॉल है that me accept नहीं करूँगा हार. तो same for me in chess कि I was very competitive. So when I lost I wanted to learn more. My parents saw this कि he's very hungry. I think this was the key difference between me and other kids, that is extremely hungry to win or to learn or to play. Then when I first won my like national championship at the age of like 11 or something, then we started getting into more coaching. One key difference was my parents were also super active. They were like, we'll go to this coach, we'll try to find who is better, who is doing what, like, you know, like how can we upgrade the coaching.
What was it like for your parents? Why did they make this decision of wanting to invest in you being a chess player from such an early age? What caused that? Where did it come from?
I think first of all they're like the best parents that I could have had, क्योंकि they're super supportive. अगर वो नहीं करते this hustle like speaking to this person, and it's not like financially we were very well to do, not at all, but they just उनमें भी एक hunger बहुत था कि you know कुछ तो करना है.
So Vidit, I think you know, when we were talking about how your childhood was very fundamentally different from other children, I'd love for you to describe that. How was your early childhood different from most other kids who were going to school?
So the thing is, how often do you take like 36 hours train journey like every month? Like, you know, it's not a normal thing to do. Right. That too, sometimes you don't have a seat, ticket nahi mil raha tha. On the spot you have to book, all those things. I actually learned सब कुछ ही from my experiences due to playing chess. Like not just the game of chess, but let's say traveling to tournaments, you know, then meeting people of all different cultures. Like all my friends, they're from all the cities in India, right? तो वहाँ पे मुझे सीखने मिला. And negotiating. When you're speaking with people, how do you negotiate? How do you, let's say बोलते हैं कि study is important, practice important, क्यों important है? वहाँ पे धुलाई होती है तो पता चल जाता है immediately. You get instant feedback in chess.
Let's say I'm at level 0. I love chess. I love the idea of being a professional chess player. But I know very little about it. What are the 3 skills that I need to have when I'm at level 0?
But it's very important to know at what age you're level 0, because it matters. In sports, age is like super important.
Right. So can we break that down? Tell me, so if I'm like say 0 to 7, what would be what do I need to be thinking about? Is that a good time to start, you would say?
Let's say if you look at the world's top players, जो भी है अभी, all of them started between the age group of let's say 4 to let's say 8 or 9.
Right.
That's the sweet spot. But I mean, there are people who started at the age of 11, 12, became like maybe international master or grandmaster, but not at world's best.
Right.
So if you want to play professional, like I get messages from sometimes people like they are very much in love with the game, but abhi 10th khatam hone ke बाद they're like कि हमें करना है. I advise them don't do it. If you want to become a professional player,
Right.
if you want to work in the field of chess, yes, it's
There
possible.
are lots of options.
Yeah. So let's say I assume somebody who is in the 4 to 9 age group. Yes,
Right.
which, so तब तो you just have to be introduced to the game.
Right.
By someone. Like तब तो parents ही करते. Kids will not take up by themselves, right?
Right.
So parents के लिए होता है कि okay, you introduce the game
Right.
without any expectation of him becoming a professional.
Right.
I would say. क्योंकि this learning the game of chess is great because it has huge impact holistically on your other aspects of life.
Right.
Because you develop some skills like your mental thinking, it just upgrades. You develop your analytical skills. You learn how to differentiate between, like comparisons, all those things, and it helps you a lot in like real life, like in your studies as well. So my advice to parents generally is कि पहले तुम 2-3 साल खिलाओ just for fun, take him to tournaments if he's interested. Look, gauge उसका interest level क्या है. But even if he doesn't become pro player, he has earned something in his life. This skill will be there. It'll come. It'll all add up. Those neural pathways have been created. He'll tap into it in some other field, and it'll be beneficial.
But what would be the other skills that I need to have when I'm approaching chess as a sport?
So skills you will develop in the process. It's not like you already have them and you...
Right. Got it.
So the first thing is it's a very boring thing, but you have to do it like you have to put the hours in.
Got it.
If you want to develop the skill.
Got it.
Let's say if I'm also going to learn any musical instrument, it's not like I was born with it.
Yeah.
I'll learn, I'll figure out the patterns. It'll become muscle memory kick in hoga. That's how it is in...
Got it. So put the hours in. I love that. What else?
You have to have that competitiveness, I would say.
Right.
So that's the personality part.
So this is amazing. Competitiveness, willingness to learn, and ability to grasp. If I go into chess as somebody who's being introduced to it, what are the different avenues to learn? Let's say I have 100 rupees in my pocket. आज अगर मेरे पास 100 रुपए है, option 1. आज मेरे पास 1000 रुपए हैं, या मेरे पास 10,000 रुपए हैं. What would I do with this money if you can give me all 3 options?
100 और 1000 में कुछ ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं होगा. तो आपको सेम ही होगा कि आपको ऑनलाइन ही सीखना पड़ेगा.
समझ गया.
You will have internet, सबके पास इंटरनेट है.
Right.
ऑनलाइन पे बहुत रिसोर्सेस है.
Right.
YouTube पे बहुत है.
Right.
Then there are courses also.
Can you recommend a few? What would you?
So
what
there are
would
like classic channels जो है,
Right.
for example, ChessBase India. India's biggest channel. It has like almost 2 million.
Right.
They post a lot of content about chess.
Right.
Educational content hota hai ki they teach you something. Then they're covering all the tournaments.
Right.
So you'll see interviews of other players. They're
Right.
analyzing their games. You learn from it. Then there are a lot of streamers who play chess, like professional players who are also streamers.
Can you give me a few names?
Like Hikaru Nakamura is world number 3 or something.
Right.
He streams a lot.
Right.
So when he's playing chess, he's describing his thought process while he's playing. So you catch up on it. It's like, okay, that's how you learn. Like, oh, he's thinking that way. Oh, ऐसा सोच रहा है. ये position में ऐसा खेलना चाहिए.
Right.
So you learn from that. But to 10,000 के लिए question, I feel when you have a coach, it's a catalyst. क्योंकि जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल नाउ आई एम ट्राइंग टू लर्न अ म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट. ठीक है, मैं यूट्यूब में पढ़ के देख के कर रहा हूँ. माई लर्निंग स्पीड इज स्लोअर बिकॉज आई डोंट नो इफ आई एम वॉचिंग द राइट वीडियो.
Right.
आई डोंट नो इफ ही इज टीचिंग राइट, क्योंकि मुझे तो उसमें स्किल है नहीं अभी तक.
Right.
But when I'm with a coach, he's like giving you one-to-one guidance and he's exactly correcting your mistakes. So the feedback loop is super fast.
Understood.
So if you can get a coach, your progress is faster.
If we break this down into a YouTube channel that I can refer to, a streamer that I can refer to, and a book that I should read.
Yeah.
As my resource pool, I am entering the world of chess. What would be the 3 things that I would do?
Very basic, like extremely basic.
Yeah.
Like you don't know. I think there's this new book, How to Win at Chess, I think is the name. The author is Levi Rosman. He's a popular streamer. He has 5 million on YouTube and stuff. He wrote this book especially for the people who are just starting out. It has everything basics covered.
Right.
And then ChessBase India is the channel which I said on YouTube, and they have a store. where you can just go and see all the books online.
Right.
From fundamentals of chess as you grow up. So it's
Right.
categorized also. तो वहाँ पे आपको मिल जाएगा.
Right.
Streamer में watch pro players like Hikaru Nakamura. There are others as well. But okay,
Yeah.
this is a good starting point.
When you're playing tournaments and all of that, I'm sure the ones that you're winning, there is prize money coming in, or I'm assuming it's coming in. At what point do you decide कि yes, this is a legitimate career and I'm going to make this my professional career? I want to understand, how does a chess player make money in India?
The good money is only when you reach at the very top of the game as a player. But the good thing is there are a lot of avenues. Let's say if you're not at the top, you can still do other things in the field of chess.
Right.
So, for example, you can become chess coach. There are many like very successful chess coaches who are earning really well, like really good money. Journalism in chess is still like very underrated. Like there are only very few companies who do a good job of it. So they cover it, like content creation around it. Streamers earn a lot in
Right.
chess. Like that's one of the biggest avenues when it comes to in the last 5 years or so. And they are like really earning a lot. Plus you have the fame part of it. And of various levels, not like you have to be at the top level.
Right.
Because there is a audience for each level.
Right.
Like, and the connect, it's also with the personality. So many people who have a good personality and they're not so good at chess also like doing great because they're tapping into an audience who wants that, who wants to be entertained also, and they like the game. So there are a lot of sources of revenue. The hardest is to become a pro player.
Understood.
You have to like work extreme amount of hours. Like you have to travel a lot.
Yeah.
It's worth it because you're also doing something which is very niche. There's also fame and like other parts attached to
Right.
it. But it's one of the hardest. So you should know that when you're getting into it.
Right.
And
So
be
if
ready for it.
If I gather it correctly, you're saying essentially there are 4 sources of revenue, and
There are actually like I've stated 4, but there are many in this. Like for
Right.
example, you can make a commentator.
right.
Because you're very fluent.
Right.
And you know the game, you have reached a certain stage, and then you can commentate,
Right.
do commentary, and then there are like organizers who organize events. They have that skill set.
Epic.
They can bring in huge crowd. They are very good at management, event management.
Right.
This is actually undertapped in India. Most of the tournaments happen in Europe and US,
Right.
but in India, kam hote hai.
Right.
So that's one thing.
If I'm thinking about this seriously, what should I be expecting in a career like this? Because with most other businesses, you have a certain benchmark, right?
Right.
And you enter saying, अच्छा ठीक है, मैं अगर sales का role कर रहा हूँ और मैं company में काम कर रहा हूँ,
Yeah.
this is what I will earn. This benchmarking becomes very tricky in alternative businesses.
Yeah, it's very tough. Because sports mein also it's performance driven.
Yeah.
How will you earn from tournaments if you don't perform?
Right.
Like-
So let's assume that you're winning some tournaments.
Doing
Let's-
well, like, but okay, of course, if you have to stay in world's top 20, 30, 50,
Yeah.
you have to win tournaments or you have to do well.
Right.
But you can have a bad year.
Yeah.
So it's very uncertain. And
Right.
let's say what age you are, you'll get more sponsorships if you're younger. For example. So it's not organized as such.
I
But
get it.
let's say if you're in world's top 50, you're earning few crores.
Right.
Like-
If you're in the world's top 50.
Yeah.
Right. And you're earning these few crores
There's
from...
still a difference. World's top 20 is better, way
Yeah.
better than 30 to 50.
Would you imagine that would be like, say, 10 plus crores? Is it 10 to 15 crores? What would it be in the world's
So
top
it keeps
20?
changing. Like world's top 5
Yeah.
will earn significantly 3x more than even more like 10x more than world top 20.
Right.
जो 20 number पे for example.
If I'm in the top 1 to 5 in the world, how much do you think I'm making?
So I think there are some reports which are like publicly out. Like for
Yeah.
example, Magnus Carlsen, who is world number 1.
Yeah.
And in Norway, there is a thing that you have to disclose your income publicly.
Right,
It's
right.
always there. So it's there. I don't
Yeah.
know that amount, but I think it's easy to find out and put it.
Right.
But that's not his entire amount also. Like because he had a company called Play Magnus. He had
Right.
some shares in it and then he sold it and stuff. There are other avenues as well.
I'm sure.
Then there is Hikaru Nakamura, who is a streamer. He earns a lot through streaming. He has a YouTube channel and he's a professional player.
Right.
So he's
And if you were to guess, like
top three are
Yeah.
this, and the third one is a streamer who is earning the most, more than pro, world number 3 or something.
so if you're a streamer, you're making more money than being a professional chess player.
He's the world number 1 streamer, right? So
Oh, right. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll get to the world's best because how will this become real to me? आज मैं अगर सोचूं कि मैं world का best बनने वाला हूँ, मतलब it's going to take me a lot of time as it has for you also, right? I've started out, and how much would I be earning when I start?
Just by playing and winning tournaments.
That's right.
It's not going to be significant.
Yeah.
Because you're just starting out and
Yeah.
you're winning few tournaments. You'll be like, okay, some thousands you're winning in a prize, but you're also investing, you're traveling, you're taking coaching.
Right.
So वहाँ पे तो I think you should not see money only when you're just
Understood.
starting out. You have to reach a certain level.
Right.
उसके
And
बाद
what
it's
is
like you're
that
still
level?
graduating. अभी तो सिर्फ पढ़ाई चालू है तुम्हारी. स्कूल में कोई
Understood.
कमा नहीं सकता ना. मतलब कमा सकता है but कमाते नहीं है ना.
समझ गया. So I want to understand कि let's say when does it get significant enough for you to be above the line? You are investing in all of this coaching and education and all of that.
So basically जो होता है एक internship part पकड़ लेते हैं.
हाँ.
That is there. So let's say you're in chess between rating system होता है. So the lowest is let's say 1000. World's number 1 is like 2800 plus. So when you reach like 2200 to 2400, that's when you are like winning some chota events here and there. You're playing some open rapid events, weekend tournaments, and then you're earning from that.
Right.
It will be some, not much, I think few lakhs a year.
Few lakhs a year from just
Still
like
on
say
the
a
lower
couple
end.
of
Lower end.
yeah, from like say a couple of tournaments that
Yeah,
you
just
are.
from earning from tournaments, you're not gonna. But in coaching, if you do,
Yeah.
you have reached that level. There's a huge demand for coaches.
Right.
So from there, you learn significantly more, like
Right.
10x more, or even more, 20x more than by playing.
So like say about 20-40
No,
lakhs.
अगर playing से कमाना है ना, सिर्फ वर्ल्ड के टॉप 100 में ही जाना.
Right.
नहीं तो फिर playing से मत expectation रखो. That's why I'm saying it's the hardest thing to do. But you become a certain level, you're good. Then you use that skill to become a coach, organizer, journalism. You have used that expertise, streamer, podcasting. Then you go in that.
Understood. Epic. So, growing up, you saw lesser of material wealth because
Yeah.
of where you came from.
Yeah.
And then over a period of time that changed.
Yeah.
And how did that change? Was it because of what you were doing, or was it because the family was earning differently? Or
No, so I became Grandmaster, and
Yeah.
then I got more stable sources of income.
Right.
And I started to win tournaments
Right.
much more. I was playing higher leagues so if you win, the money is more. Then
Right.
sponsorships.
Right.
And then also biggest change happened when in like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
In the pandemic, close to that, I also added a new source of income, which was like YouTube.
Yeah.
Then the brands increased, the visibility increased. So वहाँ पे I could see a bigger jump
Right.
in the revenue.
As a coach. Got it. So if let's assume that instead of becoming a pro chess player in the Indian context, I chose to, for me to also become a coach, I will need to be a pro player and then become successful
Yeah,
and then
certain
teach.
level you achieve.
Right.
And then you know this is my peak. And then
Yeah.
you transfer to coaching.
Right.
So those are rates जो होता है per hour basis पे many people charge.
Right.
So that will change according to your strength.
Right. And what would the per hour, what can I claim? If I become a coach today, I mean not today, at a point where I'm
So
assuming where
lowest
I'm
is
good,
let's say 1000 per hour.
1,000 per hour. Got it.
And then it goes to let's say it can go to 10,000 in India. I
Right.
would say
Right.
per hour, and more भी होता है. मतलब elite level पे तो ज़्यादा होता है.
Understood.
So let's say 1000 का bracket पकड़ के चलो, and you work 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
You get 8,000 per day. Then you multiply it,
Understood.
and this is from 1 to 1. If you're doing group, then of course you're earning
Right.
more.
So this is if you're earning as a coach. Right? And if you're earning as a streamer, which is also something
Yeah.
that you have.
So streaming में increase हो जाता है कि multiple like brands is the highest.
Right.
When you're a streamer or something, brand money is the highest.
Right.
Then of course if you're YouTube, if you have a channel, then the ad revenue will be the second.
Yeah.
And then affiliates and all those stuff are there, but it's you have to really crack the affiliate thing.
Right.
There are some people who earn a lot through affiliate. Then there is fourth part is also royalty basis. So
Okay.
you create a course or you do a
Right.
course and then you keep getting that passive income. That's very was underutilized until few years ago, but now it's one of the highest. Like
Right.
there are some people who made courses and the amount they have earned is like $300,000 in like few years.
Right.
So that's a huge amount just from courses royalty, and
Yeah.
it'll keep coming. That's the higher end, but also $50,000, $100,000 they have earned from the royalty of the courses.
What is this rating? Can you explain? Like I've heard these.
Like the
terms.
lowest is like let's say 1,000 rated.
Right.
Like
What
the
does
lowest.
that
You're
mean?
just starting out. You have learned a few skills, and then you have. That's the lowest strength. It's like strength ka metric hai basically.
समझ गया.
2800 is Magnus Carlsen world number one. That's the highest. So
Right.
this is the scale. Grandmaster जो होता है average, his rating is 2500 something. International master is 2300 to 2400.
Right.
World super grandmaster जो worlds के best है, they are 2700 above.
Right.
Like world's top 20, 30. So those are the few like milestones.
I understood.
But the thing is, a player who has reached just 1800, like who has started out, who learned chess, he did not reach the master titles. But even a 1800 can become a coach.
Right.
Because he can teach the other players, जो 1000 से 1800 तक है.
Right. And if I'm an 1800.
Because kids will always start out at that age.
Yeah,
So there is
yeah.
that market for you.
Right.
Somebody who is 2200 will teach them who wants to become from beginner to intermediate. So I think that people who are like lower rated players, 1800,
Yeah.
but they can be also earning a lot more than somebody who's 2400 and a coach.
Right.
Kyunki they are maybe tapping into a bigger audience.
Yeah.
More beginners are playing.
Yeah.
You know, they are running an academy. They have this entrepreneurial spirit. They have cracked it. So if I have to like make it super simple,
Yeah.
मोटा मोटा अगर मुझे सबका एकदम simple बनाना है, तो अगर pro chess player, I'll say worlds 1 to 100.
Yeah.
उधर ही जाओ, उसके अलावा नहीं. The ceiling you have already spoken about कि क्या है. Let's say world 100 में you'll be like somewhere 20 to 50 lakh, let's say, and then it goes on to up to let's say 10 करोड़ 20 करोड़ तक जा सकता है, और भी हो सकता है. मतलब डिपेंड ना, परफॉर्मेंस पे डिपेंड है, रैंकिंग पे डिपेंड है कि वर्ल्ड नंबर 20 एंड 1 में बहुत डिफरेंस भी है.
Right.
तो इट्स डिफरेंट. सो बहुत हो सकता. देन इफ यू वांट टू बिकम अ चेस कोच, वहाँ पे भी सीलिंग बहुत बड़ी है. यू कैन मेक फ्यू लैक्स अ ईयर और यू कैन बी मेकिंग लाइक करोड्स.
Yeah. Few lakhs would be 2-3 lakhs.
2-3 लाख 5 lakhs
5 lakh rupees a year.
या अ ईयर. लाइक वेरी, अगर आप सिर्फ कोचिंग कर रहे हो, आपने एस्टेब्लिश कर लिया, this is the basic, you'll at least minimum you learn.
Yeah.
If you're certain level, more also. But higher ceiling is elite level पे भी जाओगे, या फिर somebody who's running academy who has launched a business, तो वो वहाँ पे बहुत करोड्स में भी है. Commentary, for example, let's say one person which comes to my mind is, let's say Tanya Sachdev. She's an international master, 2400 rating. She plays for the Indian team also, but she transferred into like let's say presenter or a commentator. Like now, for example, she's also doing hosting for the Olympics. It's not just chess. Because of her skills as a presenter, she's also into presenting other sports.
Right.
That is one thing. Uska range, I don't know.
If I decide to become a YouTuber who is creating content around the world of chess, where should I start, and what can I expect in terms of revenue?
Start today only if you
Yeah.
want. Like there's no barrier to entry. YouTube का यही है सबसे, you can start any moment. जैसे if you're a chess में you're creating content, somebody who's selling a chess thing or related to that, well, of course you will have a higher what to say value,
Right.
because you're giving them exactly the target audience, right?
Right.
But if you're doing some lifestyle product, then maybe if it doesn't align with your brand, then you will have to quote less, or you will be getting less from
Yeah.
it, for example.
Yeah.
Like it could be from 1 lakh to 10 lakh.
Understood.
From one brand deal. It could be very different.
Right. So, saying if I reach 100,000 subscribers as a chess creator, how much could I, even at the base, make in a year if I was to put a number to it?
Let's say if you do 2 brand deals a month, let's say you're not very popular, still like let's say 2 lakhs. If
Yeah.
you do from just brand deals, then you'll have YouTube source का income,
Yeah.
plus Instagram, YouTube. वहाँ पे तो 5 lakhs तक हो सकता है, right? नहीं, ज़्यादा बोल रहा हूँ मैं, 3-4 लाख तक हो सकता है.
Right.
If conservative number ले रहे हैं अपन, streaming भी कर रहे हो, YouTube भी कर रहे हो, ऐसे content बना
Got
रहे
it,
हो,
got
but you
it.
have to reach that state, huh? I
Got
think 0 to 100 में शायद 0 भी हो सकता है.
Got it. Let's assume कि आज के दिन the pie is 100 rupees. और ये जो 100 rupees आप बना रहे हो
मैं
हाँ
Okay.
लेट्स अज्यूम आप 100 rupees बना रहे हो. ये 100 rupees के पाई में what are the different percentages of different kinds of revenue?
I'm doing the majorities by playing and earning professional fees. Like prize money, appearance fee, जो भी होता है उसमें majority is that, like 80% I would say.
So 80 rupees out of the 100 rupees is coming from tournament,
Right.
Winning tournaments.
Winning tournaments, or जो भी, even if you come third, second, fourth, you get, or even if participating, you get some money.
Right.
And that could be a bit skewed because in my mind, what are sponsorships or brand sponsorships I'm specifically going for?
Yeah.
I invest that immediately into coaching, so that I never see that.
Understood.
So
And
for
when
me,
you say
it already goes
sponsorships,
like
can you
this.
explain that for a second? We've not addressed sponsorships
like
yet.
I have sponsors like, let's say, Ambit
Yeah.
Capital, Persistence Systems, which is an IT company. I'm in ONGC, so I put their logo, you know.
Right.
So
So that's also a revenue source. That,
yeah, that's a revenue source.
But that is if you're a pro player, like if you're a pro player.
Yeah, that's one of ब्रांड डील. जब अगर इन्फ्लुएंसर या कंटेंट के साइड पे अगर देखो तो वो ROI ड्रिवन होता है मेनली,
right.
बिकॉज यू पुट दिस, यू मार्केट दिस, आप मेरा प्रोडक्ट दिखाओ, ये करो, उस पे जितना कन्वर्जेंस होगा, ब्रांड विल ऑल्सो थिंक लाइक दैट कि विल पुट 1 लाख, हमको उससे अगर ब्रेक इवन भी हो गया, देन वी हैव क्रिएटेड ब्रांड अवेयरनेस प्लस वी गॉट आवर मनी बैक. That's generally the thought process when it comes to ROI driven or consumer facing product. But there are athletes के साथ जो sponsorships होता है, that is long term.
Yeah.
2 साल, 3, 4, 5 साल, and वहाँ पे the thought process is not just ROI driven.
Yeah.
It's also brand association. Like big companies, they want to be associated with the attributes that match theirs.
Where we were going at with was if we have a 100 rupee pie.
Yeah. So
And you're saying 80% of it is coming from tournament fees.
Yeah.
What is the 20%, the rest of the 20 rupees?
So I think this sponsorships is the other big chunk. I think these two are the main.
Right.
Sponsorships
But you
brand.
also, as Vidit, also have had multiple different revenue sources.
Right. But I've stopped that. Like YouTube, I'm not active.
Right.
For example.
Okay.
So YouTube revenue, I don't even like, it's negligible.
Right. So primarily you're thinking 80-20 towards tournaments and sponsorships.
Sponsorships.
If you were to expand this 100 rupees to making 200 rupees, like you increase the size of the pie, what would you add as more layers?
I'll make a course, for example.
You'll make a course.
So royalty can come in from that.
Yeah.
Many top players are doing that. I have consciously stayed away because it'll take time.
Right.
So I want to like, कि अभी my aim is to become world number 1.
Yeah.
So I can always dabble into that later on. I have put it on pause, but many people have done it. They're doing really well. So उसका फिर बहुत बड़ा chunk हो जाता है. Like if your course does well, the royalty becomes like a huge, because that can even cross the professional earning if your course is selling well.
Right.
That is one thing. People do coaching. तो वो भी एक अलग हो जाता है, mentorships, or let's say you speak at events. Speaking events is something which I do very rarely. That's why I didn't count.
Yeah.
But I like to do it, or like some exhibition events that you do.
Right.
But I've kept it minimum now, but I can dabble into it more.
You know, this is where you are at right now. At 29, you have been doing this for the last 22, 23 years of your life, and built this entire ecosystem around you. Where do we go from here? Where, if I was to look at Vidit and say, in this decade, this is what has come about to be, what does the next decade for Vidit look like?
I think it can change any moment.
Right.
So as I said, 2 years ago, I stopped doing YouTube, and then I solely focused on chess. Because world had opened up more tournaments. I had an ambition.
Right.
And it depends if I fulfill that ambition. So next 2-3 years, you will see me playing a lot of tournaments. Of course, I'll do other things also on the side.
Like what?
Like endorsements or stuff.
Yeah.
I keep doing it, or like speaking events or something.
Yeah.
I dabble into that. I don't mind it. Or like working on projects like Wilder, which is a social media app.
Yeah.
To work closely with it, for example.
Right.
So those things I keep doing. But of course, majority of my chunk of my time is going into playing chess. So next 2-3 years, 2 years at least, I'll be doing that, I feel, majority of the time.
Right.
Then it depends if I achieve my goal. if I become world number one, or if I achieve something exceptionally good, big titles, and my interest level,
Yeah.
then I'll keep. Then I'll decide again. I'll revisit it. So I don't know. In 10 years, it's too big of a horizon.
Right.
Hopefully, I'm successful.
Right.
Hopefully.
What does success look like to you? What does that mean? Like, hopefully you're successful. If you were to define in your own eyes of, यार मैं ये कर लिया ना, matters closed. This is great.
खुश होना चाहिए. पहला क्राइटेरिया. सैड नहीं होना चाहिए. मतलब सैड तो होंगे, but like in general.
Yeah. Net.
I'm like happy person. You know?
Yeah.
Financially, career wise, achieved some of the things की regret नहीं चाहिए.
Right.
कि ये कर सकता था, ये नहीं किया. You know. Or
Is
at least try
there
पूरा
a
किया.
number that you attach to that?
Financially?
Yeah. Was there a financial goal that you started out?
नहीं. Never thought of it childhood से.
Right.
But right now, if I think about it, I have a complete freedom of time. Like I can say no to things.
Right.
Even lucrative offers are there. I have the power to say no. That
Yeah.
is, I don't know what number I'll need to get that.
Right.
मैं ना बोल सकता हूँ मुझे ये करना है मैं ये करूँगा.
If you were to give me 5 things, just tell me 5 things that you learned from this game that you apply in your life as an individual and as a businessman.
So I'm thinking of a person, let's say, who I'm addressing this to.
Yeah.
He is at a stage of life where he has a goal and he wants to achieve it. ठीक है, and he's serious about it. So उस person के हिसाब से मैं address कर रहा हूँ. First thing would be to have a complete clarity on your goal.
Right.
कि मुझे ये करना है. ठीक है, and उसके लिए तुम बाकी चीज छोड़ने को तैयार हो.
Right.
It'll come at some cost and you're willing to pay that price.
Right.
That's the first thing you have to do, like completely align yourself to the goal.
Right.
वो उधर ही 90% लोग चला जाता है.
So
क्योंकि वो
complete
मुश्किल है.
clarity of goal and willingness to sacrifice.
So you have to leave things on the table. It can be your personal life, it can be money, it can be other things.
Yeah.
You have other interests.
Yeah.
You know, but that is what you want, right? Then you have to leave the other things. That's the first thing. Second thing is to be able to take risks. अगर तुम्हें चाहिए है तो तुम्हें कन्वेंशनल वे में जाएगा तो तुम इधर तक ही पहुंच पाओगे. रिस्क लेना पड़ेगा.
Right.
मुश्किल है. Very few people, like all, if you see the people who have reached absolute top, they took risks in their life. It could be with money, it could be with their life choices. So you have to take big shots.
Yeah.
And you have to keep throwing. कभी ना कभी लगेगा. But वो लेने का हिम्मत चाहिए.
Right.
That's the second thing I would say. Third thing I would say is कि उसमें पूरा डूब जाना. Whatever you're doing,
Immerse yourself.
immerse yourself in it. क्योंकि फिर एक लेवल तक पहुंच जाने के बाद you will have to have minute changes. तो अभी चेस में for example, all the top players have roughly put X amount of hours थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे. So chess skills काफी लेवल तक एक certain थोड़ा difference होगा of course, but the difference comes in their personality, their way of thinking. Somebody, for example, who doesn't get nervous has an edge of someone who gets nervous, who will, like, you know, crack down under pressure. Somebody who is more competitive will put more hours. Somebody who is more risk taker will get more rewards.
Right.
He might lose also more, but he'll get more rewards. So it becomes a lot about personality. So you have to immerse yourself and find out those things. Get into the nitty-gritty details. Like somebody who is a guitarist, who is a pro guitarist, सब में उनका skill level तो same होगा, but एक क्या होगा कि यार creative होगा बहुत. He'll find his own riffs. He'll create. He'll find new melodies. You know, he'll get obsessed with it. That obsessed people are the 1% तो एकदम होता है.
Right.
So these 3 things come to my mind. I think one more thing which is very important is mentorship or like right guidance.
Right.
Who you look up to, whose words are you following?
Right.
You know, if you take the wrong person, then you are in deep trouble.
Yeah. Man, this was so much fun and I have learned so much and gathered so much from all of your experiences and learning. So I really appreciate you taking on the time
Yeah.
to teach me and the audience about how we can go from the 0 to 1 journey and actually build if you are thinking about this seriously. So I would like to thank you from this
Yeah.
wonderful crew that is here as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was epic.